Like I said in episode 1, I'm Njuguna wa Mwangi, Mugikuyu, mwithira andu a mbari ya Gathubati, uria waciarirwo Gathera sublocation in Murang'a County. Last time I did say that the Kikuyus belong to Bantu group of the Central Kenya, Bantu, also known as the Gishu. Now delve more on the Kikuyus. According to the myth of the Kikuyu, the father had Kikuyu and the wife Mobi had 10 daughters, but in the Kikuyu we do not say 10, we say 9 full, keda moyuru. Because Kikuyu did not like to fully disclose their wealth, even of daughters. So we say keda moyuru. The 9 clans are by name Ajiko, where you have Wajiru, Aboi, you have Waboi, Agari, where you have Wagari, things like that. You have said Agashiko, Agoi, Aigrado, ningĩ kuma harĩa igũrũ nĩ kũrĩ Ajeri, mũrĩmi ona hau ibuku-inĩ nĩ kwarĩ Aboi, nĩ kwarĩ Airimũ, na nĩ kwarĩ Amũyũ. Ĩyo nĩyo mĩhĩrĩga ĩrĩa kenda. And the book, which I will not read, you see the names associated with that. So I belong to Muhiriga wa Aithirado, myself. Since every Kikuyu person knows about that aspect, I'll go straight to how they expanded. To expand, as we all know, you have to marry. So the next question is, what is the process of marriage? And here is where the rubber meets the road, as you'll see a lot of deviation that is practiced today. I'll start with when the boy or the young man, whom I say in Kikuyu, Mwanake. So when I refer to Mwanake, it is the young man who wants to get married. And when I say Muiretu, it refers to the lady who wants to get married. So when Mwanake has found a nice, beautiful girl to marry, he asks his uncle in English, in Kikuyu, Mamawe. Here I must emphasize, unlike English, Mama, which I said translate to uncle, was only on the side of the girls. So if I have a sister, then the children of your sister will, the children of the sisters are the only ones who can be referred in that side of Barea Mama. But on the side of the brothers, they are going to be referred as Baba Mkubwa, Baba Mdogo. When a young mwanake has found a girl to marry, he approaches his uncle in English, but here I need to explain a little bit. In English, uncle is used for both the boys side, the women's side, and the boy side. The male, the correct word is on the male side or the women's side. In Kikuyu, all the male sides, they are called our mukuru, the elder father, kana our munini. In Swahili, baba mkubwa or baba mdogo. But on the other side, they are the one called mama. Ogwo mudo eraga mama we, the uncle, to show him how he will brew a beer, to tell the father that he has found a young and beautiful girl to marry. Now, this aspect, I must say, is lost. And it played a very important role because at that stage, the father who would have gathered the moment he started seeing the son visiting that girl, that he might be able, he might decide to marry from there, he will have gathered information about the behavior of the girl in terms of her behavior, whether she's hardworking, or if the family is of good repute. So, if that girl does not meet the requirements he sees as fit for a wife, he will refuse to drink the beer. He will say, I will not drink that beer, go and look for another girl. You notice the importance that has been lost because the vetting of the girls is lost nowadays. And that's why I would say that that's one of the reasons we have got so much disharmony in the young generation. When there is one aspect which I will point out, but I'm not going details. If the boy still loves that girl, he can take two routes, which I'm not going to mention because it's in the book and I will mention it later. So I'll move on. If the father has accepted that beer, what happened? He will tell the boy, go and call a few elders who I would share this beer with. After a few days, after the johi ya rora, or creating friendship, was drunk, the father of Mwanake brewed the third beer, which was known as johi ya koheana kehe, the beer to give the other side, the Mwanake. But before they drank it, they would say, why are you brewing this beer? And that is why we are those words of say yakoheana kehe is said. Then the side of the muiretu will say whether you know whether they have talked. And the side of the mwanake they will say, we cannot have now brewed, this is the second one, without having known that they will be able to, they have talked. And then they are told, don't brew any beer until we talk to the girl, who by the way was not called a girl, was called Mwate, who the side of the boy would like to come. They would like that Mwate to be grazing or being grazing at the compound of the father of the Mwanake. Then the conversation that took place was, do not brew another one until we go home to the Dhingira, and where they are going is Dhingira, because the men in the old days, they used to stay in their hut called Dhingira. So after they have drank that beer, they will go home and call the mother of the lady, Muiretu, and you ask, do you know that your daughter have interest with so and so, and because of that we have been brewed 2 beers? Do you know this matter? And of course the mother will say, no, I don't. If it is because of your daughter, call the daughter. And indeed, Mzee will say, go and call your daughter, eta mwariguo Dhingira. When the young lady came, she was asked 3 questions. The first question was, Niwe kehe keangania? Meaning, do you know a boy of such and such, Mzee? And the young lady, if she want to get married, will say, yes, I know him. Then they will be asked another question. Not tunywe. If another beer was brewed for us, should we drink it? You can see the nuance here. The Wazais are trying to gather evidence that the girl is prepared to get married. Then the girl will say, Nyuai nedamuhe, meaning, drink it. I give it to you. From there, the final question will be posed. Nyoga tutahekivya. Will you make us vomit? Because we have drunk. If you change your mind, shall we? How? Nyoga tutahekivya. And the girl will say, Asha bikamutahekivya. Meaning, no such a thing will happen. That is a very good indicator that the Muiretu is prepared to get married. So, from there, since the girl has decided to get married, the Mzee, or the father of the Muiretu, will contact his Muheriga, because in Kikuyu, the marriage process is between 2 clans. Udhoni ne wa meheriga eri. Muheriga wa Mwanake na muheriga wa Muiretu. The marriage in Kikuyu is between the 2 clans. And as you will see later, all this process was meant to create friendship and harmony between 2 clans. So after a few days, after he goes to the clan, he will say, Mware wanyu ni arenda kuhika. Your daughter wants to get married to such and such clan for the compound of such and such Mzee, who has a son called XYZ. And when the Muheriga has pronounced themselves, the day they would want to drink their beer, which was called Johia Julio. The pombe of asking the hand of the girl. And I repeat, that is where the official Kikuyu marriage processes officially start. Johi ya Julio. I am emphasizing this because people nowadays say we want to plant Mzee as if it is booking. No, the official starts with Johi ya Julio. You remember we said in the third that Johia Koyanakehi, the father was given the Mwanake of the other side. He will call that Mwanake to his dingira. And you say, so and so. For example, if he was called Kamau, Njuguna. This, I'm creating that. I'm sending you to your father, and you tell him to prepare beer. Adodeke Johia Julio. When the boy goes back, when the Mwanake goes back, he'll tell the father. He'll do so. He will now prepare, formally start the process. And Johia Julio, yoi magaragio ni mwatena harika. That beer of asking the hand of the girl was escorted by the ewe and lamb. And they were all taken to the Mwiretu's compound. The first thing in all this, I should have said from the beginning that before the beer is accepted, they taste whether it is up to the standard. And it is called korora, murora. If the beer tastes good. And I also mentioned that before it is drunk, all the beers are given names. So they will say, the name of this beer, Johia Julio. Now, here an interesting thing happens. The moment they mention that Johia Julio, if the clan of the girl, by doing their due diligence, they have found that Mwanake Nimuishi is a thief. They have found he's the laziest person. He takes, he's a sort. A sort is habitual drunkard. They will not accept that boy to marry their daughter. And the way they will refuse it, do you remember I said that that beer was escorted with Mwatena Harika? They will say, we do not have a place where your Mwatena Harika can go. There is no place for your animals to go. There is no shade for them or a place for them. Know that your Mwanake has been refused. You can see the good thing. You remember the Mwiretu was vetted. So even now, this is when the character of the boy was vetted. Because the Mwatena Harika will have no place where they can go. But the beer will be drunk. And that people will read for themselves and they see it was called kora nago. That one is drunk, but it doesn't, it is gone. But if you are accepted, you are told, tonyia indo cianyu haria kana haria. Meaning, haria actually refer to rige. Rige is, we can say in modern day world, is the door of the woman's, of the mother of the girls, nyumba. So they'll be told, take your mali there. Then you have been accepted. Then the other side will breathe a sigh of relief. After Johia Julio, the next stage is they were required to brew another beer called Njohi ya kunĩrwo mĩtĩ. Kunĩrwo mĩtĩ nĩ kwĩrwo indo iria makarehe. Na toguo mwaigua kuna mũtĩ nĩ kamũtĩ gaceke gethagwo gakoinwo gakoerwo gaka kamũtĩ karo nĩ indo iria ciĩtagio nĩ mũhĩrĩga ũcio cia mbere. Maiguithania gakaneo mũndũ ũrĩa ũkoya. And the process went on, and every time a new requirement was mentioned, there is a breaking of the twig, because kuna is break, twig is a thin piece, and the next one is done. And they went on, and after the men have done their bit, the women are asked to ask theirs, and the process went on like that. So from that sitting, the Mwanake side knows the amount of Ruracio they will have to bring. In English, the bride wealth, all bride price or bride token. And I would like here to correct, if you when you are referring to Ruracio, don't use the word dowry. Dowry in English are those things that girls, brides, take to their husband on their married day. So remember, dowry is for the girls, bride wealth or bride price or bride token is the correct word for Ruracio. Now, the sixth beer comes because now the side of Mwanake will go and arrange when they will be able to bring what they were asked, Ruracio. Ruracio was done in two installments, rather. They will separate a few animals, mainly goats and sheep. And that portion, the first portion, was brought on the day, the eve of the day when the Ruracio will be brought. And they will be brought by young people in the evening, and you read the details, and they will be put in the mother of the Muiretu, because they were shown the door, or lige, when they were the next day, when they bring the second installment, they will be fined. And that fine is called Johi ya guthugumithia mburi na kaburi ga kuhata bibi. I will not bother to translate that to say it in English, because it is explained in Kikuyu, in the book. After they pay that, because I jumped to say that when they are bringing the rest, they will have found that the compound of the girl, all entrances are guarded. I jumped to the fine without feeling that they had no way they could enter because it was barricaded. But once they pay that fine, Johi na mburi ya guthugumithia na mburi ya kuhatithia bibi, ngemi na ndohio ikagwa kuo, and all the gates are open, and the whole team went in the compound of the lady, and they were seated down, and there they have to eat and drink the other beer, another. And when do you say what a beer? Actually, normally it was 1 Kenya, 1 gourd. So it is not a lot of beer that was brought, because as I said, it is symbolic. And that drink that will be done in that sitting, which is the 7th beer, was called Johia Kumagaria Ohio, the pombe to escort the Ruracio. And that one finished that part. And then we go now to the 8th beer. If the Mwanake side were prepared to go to the next stage, ya koherwo miti. You remember there was a breaking of the streak to show, to be told how much they would bring. Ya koherwo miti was meant to tie the twigs together, was actually auditing, accounting whether they have fulfilled their side of the bargain. I will not go to details on how the process, because it was very interesting. But I will say this: at the end of accounting, all the twigs were collected and were put on a strip of leather, and they were tied. And the spokesperson on the girl's side will raise that bundle and see these words: Ici ne ido iria murashetie, because all the twigs represented what they had been asked for as Ruracio. And I should have mentioned that all the things do not need to come together. I mean, you don't have to fulfill what you are asked. And it is explained in the book that if you have not brought, you are told, meaning you come another time, but the amount you have brought will not be told. So when the whole bundle was raised, the words that I want to highlight here is, it was said, this Ruracio is to cement relationship between the two families and the clans. They have arrived. Then the whole bundle was thrown into a keara. And keara in Kikuyu is the dumping place. And you know, they say it never fills up. Meaning, the first Ruracio has been accepted, and when they bring others, they will be welcome. And that finishes. After that ceremony is done, it means they have finished the first part of the Kikuyu marriage process. I have said that after Ukujirwo Miti, the second part was the one which was referred in Kikuyu, Mahita Makurehe Goima, meaning it was now you are at the stage where you bring Goima, those animals, whether it's sheep or goat, that will be slaughtered and roasted. So goima, those food that will be roasted for the purpose it is brought for. The first goima was called goima ya muhiriga because the muiretu belongs to the muhiriga. I will not go into the details about how it was brought, but that is the first one. The second goima, which is also included, when if you are looking at the number of johi, or beer that will be ceremonial johi that will be drunk, will be the 10th one, was johina goima ya yetagwo ya kehoshio kiago, and that is the goima for the father of the muiretu, which I would just say was eaten by him, his age mate, of those grandchildren named after him. The 11th goima, which was called goima ya mwe, goima ya kehunyiro, kana goima ya runo, kana goima ya mwehio, ne yale marito maigaigi. And that one was eaten by the mother of the girl, of the lady muiretu, her age mate, or the granddaughters named after her. Nobody else. The 12th beer, Johie Kuminakeli, was for the goima ya atumia, and that was eaten by all the women of the Muiretu clan. And finally, the 13th beer is called the goima ya arume all the men of the clan, old and young, goima ya kirige. And that actually, kirige was a fattened goat. And there adds the second important step of the Kikuyu formal marriage process there. However, they are used now to have another stage that does not involve the whole clan. There used to be goima ige shia mugedi waithe. Mugedi, so this one are goima goats brought to the father of the girl, of the lady to get married, to slaughter agedi, are brothers of the father of the girl, of the lady, and his friends. And in Kikuyu, as you know, there is no johi that could not be drunk without meat. So that's the goimas. But out of the gourds, inya, Kenya is the container of beer, I'm sure, and I've said inya, in plural, Kenya is one. One Kenya out of the ones that are brought will be, we will say is the 14th beer, and that was called Kenya kana johi ya guthabia dara, the beer to cleanse, the roasting. The dara is what where you put the meat to roast, meaning symbolizing they have fulfilled that part of the process, and there will be no more goima to be slaughtered and roasted So the daras have been burned, ushina dara, or to clean. Those two terms were used interchangeably. Then comes another Kenya was used, and that is called Johiamadegi. Most people have heard Johiamadegi, which is erroneously used to try to book the girl. And I've said that is not the way, because that was used to symbolize that the side of Mwanake have fulfilled all throughout that process what they were asked for. And therefore the muhiriga, or the clan of the girl, allows, once they drink that beer, they now allow their muiretu to stop being associated with her original clan by birth and move and be associated with the clan of the husband. I hope that is made very, very clear, that it is like in the old days. And I need to explain, in the old days, if a land was bought and you want to divide it, where the boundary is, you put something called getoka. It's a perennial plant. Shows where the boundary is. And it is the similar concept in marriage, that you plant, you drink that johi ya madegi to symbolize that movement crossing over from one clan to the other. And that is why I would like to implore the young generation to internalize the richness of the culture. Because as you have seen, there were vetting, and there are a lot of symbolism like this one of crossing over, which are all lost nowadays. Getiriha kana in English, in conclusion, I would like to state a few things. That there are that after Madege, there used to be another beer called Johia Karikini. And it's called Johia Karikini because the women of the Muiretu would want to go and visit where the Muiretu would go, and it's called Kuona Itara. I will not go into details about Itara because most of you know what Itara is. And the Wazes would sit under a castor tree, Mwariki. That's why it was called Johia Karikini. And the book talks in details what used to happen. Now, I would like to take you back and remind people that they have seen there were 16 actually beers. The first thing I want to mention, there were ceremonial beers, and they were not beers to get intoxicated. Todo johi ya mabura ni jono. The second point I would like to say is this. In Kikuyu, there was no timeline when you should be able to bring all that is asked. I also did mention that when Woko Jiro Mete, I did mention that the words Oyo ni Ruracio mwe otatera, this is somebody who will continue bringing the bride wealth. Therefore, those people who are today implying there is a timeline, they are in error. The third point I would like to bring in, Most people are using concepts of Kikuyu, like kuhada madege, that they are going, when they plant madege, they are booking the girl. Yet, if you ask those people, have you ever heard Johi Ajolio? They will say, yes, we have heard. So the question is, what happened to Johi Ajolio and where was it drunk? So, in order to return to the original path of how things used to be done, that's why this book was written. This one. The book, the title of the book is, as you can all see, is written The Kikuyu Marriages, Ugurani wa Agikuyu, the Center for Expansion, Getina gea utheremi of Kikuyu clans wa mbarici ya Gikuyu. Niki wathoma umenye makinya nigetha andu makamenya haria muriire na macoke moe makinya mau mundu uhititie hanini. Gikuyu ni kiari njira ya kurunga tondu no kunyua njohi yetagwo njohi ya kurunga icuri, and njohi ya kurunga icuri yanyuo ni kugwetwo haria woriire. There will be mentioned the step that you missed out, and once you drink that beer, you have actually righted and you have come on board. So remember, it is an easy thing to do. And those joy, what can be done is all explained in another part of the episode, of the book, which you read for yourself. But remember, once again, all the process can be done in one day, because after you finish one sitting, you ask for the second sitting, third, fourth, even up to 16th, because nowadays the process are being monetized. So all that process is not hard to do, because you do it in sittings, one day with many sittings. I hope the young generation will pick up this challenge, because the book, as I've said in the last page, which I have not shown you, it says this work is hoped that this will provide awareness of family roots, strengthen people's sense of both cultural and individual identity. Thank you very much for listening to my podcast.